guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Maria. Today I want to share with you guys my story of how I got pregnant with PCOS. I want to go through the timeline and I have some dates written down, so I'll be looking down at my paper here. But me and my husband have been together since 2015. We were never preventing pregnancy. We just figured it would happen whenever it happened. Well, in June 2018, we realized that it wasn't happening. So I already had a son, so I knew that I could get pregnant. I just didn't know what was going on, but I had an idea that it was something to do with me because I would get my period maybe once a year. So obviously something was off. So June 2018, I decided to make an appointment with a reproductive endocrinologist. So I made the appointment with the endocrinologist, and in the meantime, they sent us a bunch of paperwork that we had to fill out with our health history for both my husband and I. We had to fill that out, mail that back to them. They would review it, and then they would call us to set up an appointment. So in the meantime, while I was waiting for all of that to come back, of course I came on YouTube and I was looking to see, what everybody else was doing, what were some natural ways, because going to a reproductive endocrinologist was a little bit intimidating. I mean, it sounds expensive, so we had no idea what we were getting ourselves into, and we didn't know what type of issues we were going to have. Since I did have a son already, I figured, I should be able to get pregnant. So, maybe doing a little bit of these natural things will help. So I'm going to have a list of all the things that I tried. I'll also insert a picture of the natural things that I was taking. So the things that I were taking can be found at Walmart. They can be found at Amazon. I would basically order most of my things and just have them shipped to the house. So we did that until September. We didn't have any luck. My period never came. Like, I was just so irregular still, even with all these things that we were trying. I mean, we tried for about 3 months. So early September, we finally had our appointment at the endocrinologist. And we went in and I had blood work done. I had an ultrasound done. My husband had a semen analysis because we wanted to rule out that it wasn't also him. We figured it was me for sure, but we wanted to make sure that it wasn't also him, because if it was, we wanted to make sure we addressed the problem. So we went in, they confirmed that I had PCOS. I had so many symptoms of it. So my period was irregular. I had gained a lot of weight that was so hard to put off. When they checked my blood work, they also found out that I had insulin resistance, and then I also had a lot of random, I guess, hair that started popping out. I think I was maybe 19, 20 when I started noticing all these things. I remember I was at work and one of my coworkers was like, I think you have a little hair here, which honestly, there's nothing more embarrassing than that. So I had all of these symptoms, all these signs and symptoms that I had PCOS, and they just confirmed it. That day, they decided to start us on Femara. So I started on Femara, and then I also started on Metformin for the insulin resistance. So we got sent home with Femara. We were also sent home with Metformin for myself to take. We were also sent home with I believe it's maybe called a trigger shot or an HCG shot, which once the Femara has forced your body to ovulate, when you have PCOS, you don't ovulate. So I took the Femara. I think I ended up taking it 10 days. I had to keep going in for ultrasounds because my eggs were just not growing the way that they're supposed to be growing. So I had to keep going in for ultrasounds once they were ready, or once my follicles were ready. We did the trigger shot, and then you have to have intercourse those 3 days. So they'll tell you what days you need to have intercourse. You have to do it those 3 days. The first time that we tried was in September. By the end of September, I actually got my period, which was awesome, but that meant we weren't pregnant. So we tried again. By that point, we had some sort of an idea how much Femara I needed to be taking to ovulate. So we went ahead and did that. Again, I ovulated. We did another trigger shot. And we had intercourse the 3 days like we were instructed to. Well, very, very late October, early November, I found that I was pregnant. So I called them, I let them know I was pregnant. They sent me to get blood work done to make sure that my HCG levels were doubling as they should, which they were, but very, very closely. I would start off at maybe a 4, and then I would go in again for my next appointment, and I'd be at an 8 or a 9. So they were doubling, but just barely. So it seemed a little bit weird, but we weren't worried just yet. So my numbers doubled. They told me to go in at 7 weeks, and we would have an ultrasound. When we went in at 7 weeks, they couldn't find the baby, which at that point they should be able to. There was nothing in my uterus. So they told us to come back again in 2 days. So we had been looking forward to that day, for over the 7 weeks. So when they didn't find that baby, it was heartbreaking. We went home, waited for the next appointment, and went back in again. And again, they didn't find the baby. So it turned out to be an ectopic pregnancy. They told me that I had 2 options. So I could either have a shot, and I can't remember off the top of my head what that shot was called. If I think of it, I'll put it in here. But it's basically a drug that they use to treat cancer. I could have that shot and it would dissolve the pregnancy, or I could have surgery and they would remove the pregnancy from my fallopian tube. So an ectopic pregnancy is when the baby is not in the uterus, it was my fallopian tube. My husband and I both talked. We decided that the best option was to receive that shot. So I went ahead and did that. So we were in the room for hours after I received the medication. They told me that the pregnancy would dissolve. It was going to be like a really heavy period. So I went to work. I took the rest of that day off, but I went to work the following day. And that was, I believe, a Friday. So it was a whole week afterwards when I finally started bleeding. I was miscarrying. That's not how they explained it to me, but I was miscarrying. My stomach was cramping. It was horrible. Anyway, so I ended up having to have surgery to remove the pregnancy because the pregnancy did not dissolve like it should have with the shots that I received. And since I received that shot, they told me that I couldn't get pregnant again for another 3 months. So after waiting for so long, we were still gonna have to keep waiting. I still ended up having to have the surgery, which I was trying to avoid, which was the reason why I got this injection. So that was very, very late November, early December of 2018 when that happened. They told me that I had to wait 3 months. We went ahead and scheduled my next appointment so I could go in, they could check everything over, and then try and get me pregnant again. So, I let my body heal. I let my mind heal. But I knew and I had heard and I had read that after a loss, your body is extra fertile. At this point, I only had 1 fallopian tube, so my, I guess my hopes weren't too high. In February, we decided that since we were so close to the 3-month mark, which our appointment was scheduled for like March 1st or something, we decided, if we get pregnant now, I think we will be okay. So, we tried that month, and by the end of February, I took a test and I was pregnant. So I called the reproductive endocrinologist office and I let them know that I didn't need that appointment anymore because I was pregnant. They did end up seeing me because they followed up with my pregnancy up until the 12 weeks. and it was a little bit more high risk because of the PCOS. So I was, they checked my thyroid, and my thyroid was low, so I took pills for that. I also took progesterone suppositories. They were vaginal, so that was up until my 12-week mark, which those were not fun at all. They were disgusting. But you know, at that point, anything to keep baby safe. And then, I mean, honestly, the rest of my pregnancy went on as usual, like a normal pregnancy should. It was just getting to that point that was so hard. I do believe that getting on the Femara, getting on the Metformin, using the trigger shots, you know, it helped regulate me to the point where I did get pregnant. You know, I got pregnant after 2 months. It just resulted in an ectopic pregnancy. Once I was healed and everything, and we were just about ready to go back to see them again, I ended up getting pregnant on my own. But I think that was because I was extra fertile from the loss. So if we do need help getting pregnant again, I will definitely be going back to them. The prices, you know, that's a lot to think about, especially when, you know, you're going to spend all of this money trying to get pregnant, and then you have to spend all of this money going to doctor's appointments, going to the hospital when you're giving birth, buying all the baby stuff, and then once the baby is born, you know, like the expenses just go even further up. So, I did have insurance. I don't know, you know, how much they covered or anything. I know for the reproductive endocrinologist office, they did not cover anything. I would say for my appointments and everything that I needed, we spent about $2,000 to $3,000. As far as the pills that I took, the Metformin was maybe $5 for a month's supply. That was with insurance though. And then the Femara was also maybe another $5 a month. The trigger shot was the most expensive thing that we had to pay for, and that was about $120. And those injections, I would do them into my stomach, so I was able to do them myself. But it was about $120. Once I was pregnant and I had to take the vaginal suppositories, those were about $75 a month. And I did those for 3 months. So it does get pricey, you know, everybody's at different spots in their life. You know, maybe $75 isn't anything for some people, but you know, it can be a lot. So it's something to think about. It's something to maybe save up for. So if you haven't tried Femara yet, if you've been trying to get pregnant, you can't get pregnant, you haven't gone to the doctor to get checked out, I can't stress it enough how important it is for you to go in. I also went to a lot of OBGYNs before I went to the reproductive endocrinologist, and they kind of just dismissed me. They told me, well, you're young, you have 1 kid, you'll be fine, you know, lose a little bit of weight and you'll be good to get pregnant. Well, with PCOS, it is ridiculously hard. And also, once you get that idea in your head that you want a baby, like, good luck thinking about anything else, you know? So I am so happy with how seriously they took me. You know, that same day they prescribed medication to me. So if that's not how your doctor is, you need to get yourself another doctor. Anyway, let me know if you have any more questions. Anything that I think about, I will go ahead and insert it into the description. Comment if you have any questions. I will go ahead and get back to you. So make sure you guys stay tuned for more videos. I will be posting weekly videos from now on. I'm also going to be posting an update for my Kybella. I had Kybella done for my double chin. Check that video out if you're interested in getting that or you want to know what it is. I will have swelling for 5 to 7 days, and it's maybe day 4 or 5 right now, so I'm still swollen, but I will be letting you guys know whether it's worth it or not, so stay tuned.